Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Jeremy Shapiro. He is a serial entrepreneur and facilitator of the Bay Area Mastermind. Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Thank you so much, AJ. It's great to be here.
You are welcome to the show, Jeremy. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk about. We'll be talking about the power of the mastermind. So, Jeremy, to understand for a common person, for a lot of people in different aspects of business, solopreneurs and all, what is a mastermind? Generally, earlier it used to be that mastermind used to have a negative connotation into something negative. Mastermind of something, especially in some criminal act and all. So help us understand, in today's time, what is this mastermind all about? And you, since you are the facilitator of the Bay Area Mastermind, you know how this works and how people can make the best use of a mastermind.
Yeah, so the term mastermind, as we know it and use it in terms of self-improvement, really comes back from Napoleon Hill's days when he wrote about the laws of success and Think and Grow Rich, one of his most well-known publications from 1938. When he came out with that, in chapter 10, he talks about the power of the mastermind, the driving force, the ninth step towards riches. And really the idea is that when you put more than one person, more than one mind together in the room at the same time, you have the creation of this third mind, the sort of hive mind of everyone's experience, the advisory that comes from everyone, the life experiences and perspectives as well. So the way we use that in modern days is we get a group of entrepreneurs and business owners together and spend the day really diving into what's going on in the business and the life of the entrepreneur to help everyone move forward and grow. The benefit you have is we have ideas of the things that we think we know. We have ideas about the things that we think we don't know, but the real opportunities I've found, AJ, come from those blind spots, the things you don't even know that you didn't know. And when you're in a room of like-minded business owners and entrepreneurs who also want to grow and scale, that's where you can discover and hear about all the things going on in other businesses that you didn't even know you could be doing in your own business and your own life. And that's where we see the real growth happen.
Right. Generally, people think that, if you have an issue that you need to get solved, or answer that you want for your business or whatever you are doing, you be a part of mastermind. So how do all the people who are facing individual issues in their business, who learns then? How do they get to learn when everyone comes with a problem that they needs to be solved? Who is the one who solves their problem?
One of the things that I find so fascinating is when we have people come in and test drive our Bay Area Mastermind, so they join us for the day to try out the group, they usually have, like you were sharing, one big burning question, one big thing they want an answer to. And they come in with that mindset of looking for an answer. But where I see their eyes light up the most, the biggest, what I call like aha or light bulb moments, when their pen suddenly starts scribbling down notes, the big ideas come not from their hot seat, where we talk about them and their business, but really from everybody else's. Because people are sharing more than just the big question they have. Everyone's also taking the time to share what's working in their business, what's not working in their business, and where they need help. And it's from that sharing that the real big ideas and pivots come up. So I'll share with you an example of that. You have, let's say, an online business owner who is an expert in e-commerce and email marketing. Right? They're sharing about what's going on in their business. You then have across the table somebody with a brick and mortar like retail store, and they're hearing the person talking about how they're thriving and growing online. And so they say, they ask for clarification on the strategies that person is using so they can use it in their business. And we've seen this again and again. For example, we've seen attorneys use best practices that online marketers are using to grow their traditional law practice. We've seen doctors take e-commerce models and use that in their business. We've seen online businesses leverage the best practices of direct mail marketing. And so you get this real, what I call the cross-pollination of ideas, where people take the best practices that are working in one industry and apply it to their own business and their own space.
Right. How does this mastermind actually work? We got a sense that, people share their problems and but is there a proper formal way that a mastermind meeting begins? Generally, how many times does it meet? Is it online? Is it offline? And also, if I understand, people say, or even I've understood that it needs a bit of a money to be a part of a mastermind. How does
Mhm.
that work? So that a person who is only hearing about these things, and maybe because of money factor or any other factor, is finding it a bit is a bit hesitant to approach any of this, and especially they don't know which one to approach, because there are quite a number of masterminds all over
Mhm.
the world.
Yeah, so I've been a member of masterminds for decades, and I've seen the whole variety of what's out there. So I found there's generally sort of three main categories of mastermind groups that I've experienced, that I've seen out there, that you've probably seen out there as well. And then there's sort of two different draws to the mastermind group, and we can touch on that. So in terms of the categories, on one end of the spectrum, you have what I call like your destination mastermind groups, right? I've been parts of these. You're usually paying anywhere from $30,000 to $120,000 US to be parts of groups like this. You're getting together like 2, maybe 3 times a year, and you're flying off somewhere exotic or different to get away from the business and everything. And you're typically there for about a business week, of which maybe 2 to 3 of those days are spent diving into the hot seats and working on your business. So not only do those groups have a very high financial investment, it's also a large time investment. The other piece to consider with that kind of group is when you only get together, say 2 times a year, the entire business can be changed 6 months later. So when you come back and talk to folks about what's changed in the business, you could have an entirely new business. You might have sold your business and launched a whole new business in that time frame. And so the cadence is a little too far apart. On the other end of that, we have what I call like your accountability groups or your coffee groups. These might meet like on a phone call for 30 to 90 minutes once a week. You might meet up at a coffee shop. These groups are typically free to maybe, I've seen at the high end, like $97 US a month, right? The challenge is when there's no financial investment, members tend to turn over quite a bit because there's no skin in the game. If you could choose to show up to a call once a week or do anything else, sometimes people at that stage in their business or life are distracted by the fires they've got to go fight within their business. And so the idea of setting aside that short period of time to work on the business becomes not the priority. And so you have high turnover and low show rate in those kinds of groups. And then secondly, when you're meeting once a week, that cadence, that frequency, there hasn't been enough time to really implement the big things that change the business over the course of only 7 days. And so we found the sweet spot is what we use at the Bay Area Mastermind is we meet once a month for 1 full day to deep dive into the business. And this is time you set aside to work on your business instead of the day-to-day work of working in your business. The once a month cadence allows our members to really get a lot done between their meetings so they can move the business forward, but not so far that you have an entirely new business over the course of just 30 days. And so that meeting frequency we found works really well. Yes, to your question about the financial investment, there's also a financial investment that keeps our members really hanging out with other business owners who are at a similar size that also see the value in investing in themselves and their business. And in terms of why folks are showing up, a lot of groups that are out there you've probably seen are there's an author or an expert that you like, you enjoyed their book, so you go to their live event, you enjoy their live event or their course, and their next offering is to join a mastermind group to spend more time with them as an expert or author. And oftentimes people don't care about who else is in the room. They just want to spend time with that expert or author. And so those are what we call more of like our guru-led groups, because people want to be around that expert. On the flip side, the kind of groups that I found the most valuable are the peer groups, where you're hanging out with other individuals who are like you. And the value of the person putting the group together is that they are curating the right kinds of people in the room that have a similar mindset, similar goals to what you're looking to accomplish, but a diverse range of experiences and background. So you can really leverage everyone's individual superpowers and get that true peer advisory by being around the right kinds of people in the true sense of what Napoleon Hill was putting together when he talked about the power of the mastermind.
Right, right, Jeremy. Now, in terms of solopreneurs, you talk about that these solopreneurs, they can actually become true business owners by actually using the power of a mastermind. Help things from their perspective. What is it that they can learn? And normally, if again the mastermind is about learning from peer group, then there will be other solopreneurs, or will it be some larger ones from whom they can learn from?
Yeah, a lot of times, if we look at the progression of a business owner, many times they come from the background of being what we call a technician, right? You might be an electrician or a plumber or an SEO expert working at some company providing that service. And at some point, you decide you want to go out and do that on your own as your own business. So you step out from doing the work of the business, and now you launch a business to do that thing. For example, you become a plumber with your own business. The challenge there is suddenly you have to do all the work that is involved in running a business in addition to the actual work of the business. So now you're dealing with marketing and payroll, you're dealing with the, administration and bookkeeping, and you're doing sales, and suddenly you're doing everything that it takes to run the business, and only a small part of your time is actually the work of the business. And so to scale beyond that, to really grow and get the freedom that can come with entrepreneurship, you need to expand out beyond just being a solopreneur or self-employed and get a team to take care of the various functions of your business so you can build and grow that business. So you might, for example, hire a virtual assistant. You might bring on a bookkeeper. You might bring on someone to handle sales or marketing for you and start to build out your team. And then ideally starting to hire people to do the work of the business as well. And that's really where we see tremendous growth for business owners individually and professionally. And what comes with that growth is real entrepreneurial freedom. See, when you start a business and you're doing everything, any moment you're away from the business still needs you. Your customers and clients still need you. But as you grow and get a team in place, you yourself can have less hours put into the individual business, and the business can still continue to grow. And so the test we use to see, are you truly a solopreneur or are you finally a business owner, is this question. Can you step away from your business for a day, a week, a month, or 3 months and come back to a business that's the same or better than when you left it? For many business owners, if they step away for even a day or two, the business is on fire and they're out of business within a week. And that's an indication that you are still self-employed and you are not yet at that point of truly being a business owner. And so one of the strategies that we work on is helping business owners to get the right team and systems in place so they can find that true entrepreneurial freedom. And when you're around other like-minded business owners with similar goals and proper facilitation, that's where you can get the insights and expertise, not just from others, but from the facilitator as well, and truly begin to scale and build your business and achieve that freedom that you deserve as an entrepreneur.
Right, Jeremy. Now you are a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
How much of the credit would you give your serial entrepreneurship to masterminds, and more to and how much to your own efforts and your intellect or skills?
Well, when you think about what a mastermind can do, right? A mastermind doesn't actually change anything in your business. That's still up to you to change your own mindsets and make decisions in your business. So at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur and business owner, all of the action comes down to you and what you do in the business. Now, what inspires that and where you get the ideas is a different story. And for myself personally, simply by being part of mastermind groups over the years, I've launched new businesses that have come from ideas that were sparked and came up during the mastermind meetings. I have found business opportunities. I've found clients. I have found so much growth personally and professionally just by being in those groups. And I'll share with you a story for one of my businesses. I was in one of those destination high-end mastermind groups that we're talking about. And I was a member of that group for one of my education businesses I had had. And as we're sitting around the table, I realized there was a gap in the marketplace that was not being served, and that I, as a consumer, was looking for a solution for my own business. I did the market research and I realized there's just not a good solution out there. And I sort of sketched out an idea of what the solution could be that would take care of me as a consumer. I was then able to go to the group. We were there for a few days and present my idea just conversationally during our downtime. And what I quickly found is I had many other members in the group with me saying, Jeremy, that's a great idea. I would love to have that service for my business as well. And so just by being part of that group, I was able to validate my idea for a business. I was able to bring on our first handful of customers. And when we launched, from that first day we launched, a few months later when we were ready to launch the company, we had paying customers from the very first day because we already validated our product. We already dialed in our messaging and we knew who our customers were going to be. And so that multi-million-dollar business launched just from conversations and ideas that came up behind closed doors. And that is far from an individual story. There are many, many, many more stories like that for myself and for our members and for my other colleagues and friends I've seen in our mastermind groups over the years. So absolutely, the mastermind group has been instrumental in getting me unblocked personally and professionally and inspiring those pivots of what's next within my business and my life.
Right, Jeremy. So how can one find the right fit, right mastermind for themselves? Should it be only, online, offline, near to their house or in Bay Area? What is the best way to do this particular sort of a research?
Yeah, so when you're looking for a mastermind group, you want to find a group that's going to be a good fit for you, and you need to make sure that you'll be a good fit for the mastermind. So consider those 3 different formats we talked about earlier, from like the weekly accountability groups to the high-end destination groups to the once a month in-person or virtual groups. There's value in all of those. It depends what you're looking for. So one thing I'd point out to look for is you don't want to be what we say like the largest fish in the pond. If you're the biggest business or the most advanced, well beyond everybody else, there's a lot more advice you'll have for others and a lot less value you'll be able to get from the group. And that's fulfilling in its own way. You just want to make sure that you'll get value from the group. On the flip side, if you're too early stage for wherever the group is you're looking at, then there's not as much you can contribute to the group, and there's a lot more value you be getting from the group. And so again, there's a bit of an imbalance. So you're looking for a group, like we talked about earlier, of like-minded individuals who have similar growth goals. What I've found in all the mastermind groups that I've found success in is that all of our members are lifelong learners, right? At the Bay Area Mastermind, all of our members are voracious readers. We love reading books, sharing about what we're reading and what we're implementing. We take courses, we invest in ourselves, we go to conferences. We are always growth focused. And so you're looking for a growth focused group versus like a complaint group where people are sharing just the problems, but not actually taking action to resolve those challenges and those issues, right? So you want to make sure the meeting cadence fits what you're looking for. You want to make sure the budget makes sense for you and your business and where you're looking to go. And you want to make sure that the group is professionally facilitated, and that's not just sort of a volunteer group that doesn't have a structure or a format. The way we run the Bay Area Mastermind is structured. We have a process and formula we've developed for well over a decade that we've dialed in and continue to iterate and improve on to bring the most value to our members and keep things moving and on track. When you're part of a group and you don't get a chance to share because the time ran out and there wasn't a chance to get to you, that can be challenging if you had a big question that you were hoping to get some peer advisory and feedback on. So you want to make sure that someone is keeping things on schedule and keeping things moving and asking the right questions to guide that conversation and guarding and protecting your time to help you get the most value from your time there.
Right, Jeremy. So in terms of a mastermind, are there sector specific masterminds also? Service industry, service specific mastermind? Is it that thin, much more focused?
It's a really good question about focus. And I have a 2-part answer for you. On the one side, yes, there are very much industry specific masterminds, business kind masterminds, and so on. So let's say you're in financial, you're doing wealth management and financial advisory work. Within your industry and at your trade shows and within your groups, you'll find mastermind groups catered specifically to your industry. And that's great. In the same way, if you were an e-commerce business, you'll find mastermind groups just for e-commerce. If you're, a doctor, an attorney, any of these things, you'll find industry groups. The question, however, is do you want to be around people who do the exact same thing that you do in the exact same way and are all on the same path in the same industry in the same way? Or do you want to leverage the power of cross-pollination? And this is where you get those ideas that come from outside of your industry that really allow you to pivot. So for example, we shared earlier the story of a doctor who had a traditional medical practice, but was able to pivot and add additional income streams to his business by starting to sell physical products online in terms of e-commerce and started to sell training and education in the form of continuity programs and more, and really shifted from what traditional typical doctors do to adding additional income streams to the business. And those ideas didn't come from hanging around with more doctors. In the same way, to stick with traditional businesses, we've had attorneys in the group who have a typical traditional law practice and went on to become authors and publish books, not just for additional revenue, but for expertise and authority, and then went on to create continuity and membership programs within their business for ongoing cash flow that they can build and increase over time as they expand their client base. And these kinds of ideas, again, don't come from the same industry of everyone who's doing the same thing, but come from drawing on other areas of expertise from other businesses. And we have tons more stories, but those are just a few examples.
Right. And the size of a mastermind, one should go for 5, 6, 10, 20. Are there larger masterminds too?
Yeah, so I've found that the amount of time you have dedicated to your mastermind each time is directly proportional to how many members you should have. So your accountability groups we were talking about that like get together once a week, if you only have 30 to 90 minutes, you can't have a very big group. You're probably talking on the low end, 2 people, an accountability partner, up to maybe 5 to 8 at the most, but you're not going to get much dedicated time to focus on you and your business with a group that large. So those groups are smaller. On the other end, sort of those larger destination groups, when I've been parts of those can be 20 to 25 members because you have 2 full days or more to really dive into each person's business. Where we are with the Bay Area Mastermind, the format I found works the best for our folks is when we spend 1 full day a month deep diving into our businesses, the right size in terms of number of people in the room is 8 to 10. That means you want to have a group with 10 to 12 members because people have travel, conferences, schedules, and all those things. So you'll end up with 8 to 10 members in the room. That allows you to have the right amount of time to have a hot seat for every single member in the group, and occasionally allows time to bring in guest expert speakers to run workshops based on various topics that our members are looking for. So the size of the group relates to how much time your group has to meet.
Right. So if groups are so small and members are already there, how do I get into a group which is already established? Or do I have to start from the beginning when some new mastermind is being set up?
Yeah, so some folks look to go out there and create their own mastermind group, and you absolutely can do that. And I write about that, how you can go and create and start your own mastermind group. Keep in mind, you'll need to figure out what your process is, what your structure is, and you'll need to find the members and put everything together. And you can do it. It's a lot of work. And I say that from a lot of experience. On the flip side, you can step into a well-oiled machine where there's already existing members, where there's already existing facilitation structure, and so on. And the best way to do that is to do what we call a test drive, right? It doesn't make sense to join a group you've never seen or met before, nor does it make sense for a group to just bring in a new member they know nothing about. So it's because of that we put together what we call our test drive process at the Bay Area Mastermind. And that lets you one time join us for a full day and invest in just that one time with us and get a feeling for what the group is like. You still get a hot seat, you still have a chance to participate, and you're stepping into an existing group that is not at capacity, but is near capacity. That gives you a chance to really see, is this group going to be a good fit for you? Are you able to both give and get value from the group? It's also a chance for the group to see if you're going to be a fit, if you both get and provide value to the group as well. We want to make sure there's a culture fit, meaning people are open to receiving feedback, and that they're able to be vulnerable in the group and share really what's going on and take in the perspectives from other group members. We also want to make sure that folks are comfortable asking questions and lovingly challenging other members. As an entrepreneur, it can be lonely at the top. You're surrounded by friends, family, vendors, employees, team members, and so on, who have their own agendas. It's not a bad thing, but in terms of being able to provide honest feedback to you, that's not always the best source for that. Whereas in a peer advisory group in a mastermind format, you have other like-minded business owners and entrepreneurs who aren't your customers, your vendors, your friends, your family, and who want nothing but the best for you and can ask you those tough questions, and who can challenge you and point out the blind spots that you wouldn't see in your own business and that nobody else is willing to share with you. That you can get in a mastermind group that's already there and ready to support you.
Right. And as a facilitator, what is the expectation of a facilitator from a mastermind group? Is it that they are growing with that, or is it happiness from inside?
It's a bit of both. And when you are looking at who's running the group, if you have like the category we talked about, like the guru-led or expert-led ones, that's going to be run in a different way because everyone's there really to hear from the guest expert themselves who's running the group. And so a lot of the questions are sort of directed towards that person. Whereas when you're in a peer-led group, The role of that facilitator is to facilitate the conversations and its insights. So I, as a facilitator, know about everyone's individual businesses and experience, and can help to connect the dots for others where I see there's opportunity, right? So you want a facilitator who knows how to keep a meeting on schedule, who knows how to run hot seats, who knows how to point out opportunities between members, who has an impressive Rolodex themselves where they can connect members to other experts outside of the group who have domain expertise. One of the things that I do as a facilitator is bring in some of these guest experts to provide hands-on workshops with their members on a range of topics. We record all of these sessions as well and put those in our members vault. So when we have new members who join us, for the first number of months, there'll be questions that come up and we can refer back to the members vault. So when someone comes into the group and is sharing they're looking at selling their business and they want to know when to do that or how to set themselves up for success, we can refer back to the workshops we've run on exit strategies and how to set yourself up for success in a sale. When someone comes in and is looking for expertise on SEO or PPC from a marketing standpoint, or sales, or working with CFOs, or any of these things, we have years of workshops and guest experts that we can connect them with. And these are people who have a good relationship with our mastermind, who will take a phone call and talk to our members and help them out in the areas they need deep domain expertise that comes from outside the group. So you want to find not just a volunteer who's helping out their peers, but someone who is able to have that role of facilitation, who can grow the group and run the group effectively.
And is the membership for only a particular duration? When does a member want to leave, or do they want to leave, or they leave for other reasons, or is it that their work is over and they have achieved what they wanted? How does it work in terms of duration as a member?
It depends what the goals are, right? Most of our members I've seen are actually serial entrepreneurs. If they haven't already had other businesses before they join the mastermind, they may have multiple businesses right now, and many will launch a new business over their tenure in the mastermind. So, no, members don't join for a set period of time. They're joining a longer term membership. Some pay annually, some pay monthly. Either are fine, but they stick with us because of the community we have of like-minded entrepreneurs who are also growing, right? They stick with us for the expertise and that peer advisory. So as they launch those new businesses, they're able to get the advisory they need at that point in their life and in their business. We do have members who graduate and move on to become our mastermind alumni. And when they do, sometimes it's because we've had many members sell their business. They've had a profitable, successful exit, and they now go on to the next stage of whatever is next in life. One of our members, I love his story. He joined our mastermind with one business. While he was in the mastermind, he actually launched, much like I had, an additional business that was serving a need or a gap in his current business. That little side business went on to become its own profitable, wonderful business that requires, I think, like 1 hour a week of his time. But the main business he had, he went on and sold. And so he had a 7-figure exit from that business, and then decided to buy an RV, pack up his family, drive around the country, live that nomadic life for about a year, and then settle down in a different city somewhere, and went on to become an angel investor in other businesses, a mentor, an advisor, an author, and continues to grow some of his own businesses as well. So we do have members who go down that path, which is wonderful, and others just launch the next new business and stick with us in the group.
Wonderful, wonderful. There is so much to learn about this such thing called Mastermind from you, Jeremy, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to learn that and also know about your business, be a part of, and also connect with you for any business opportunities that either of you can give to one another. So what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, so a lot of my writing and a lot more about, me, the masterminds, the resources we talked about, how to create your own mastermind group, how to find a mastermind group, all those things we have right on the website at bayareamastermind.com. You can actually go through, we have a business audit you can do for your business that'll give you some really good highlights. This is a free audit you can do, and it'll highlight some of those opportunities you might have in your business. We also have our test drive application to see if you're a fit for our group, as well as guides and things like that. And that's all at bayareamastermind.com.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, AJ. This was great.